morning, everyone, and welcome to my new episode of What Does It Take to Get the Right Shot? Today, we are going to talk about the aperture. What is the aperture and how does it work? Well, first of all, when we talk about the aperture, we talk about the lens, not the camera, not the subject, but the lens. What am I talking about? What does it mean? The aperture, it's the quantity of the light that can go through the hole that is on the lens. So when we purchase a lens in the box and in the front of the lens, we can read how far, how much light the lens allows you to get in. For example, this lens, it's a 2.8. Now, because any kind of electronic, when we try to talk to an electronic stuff, we need to talk with numbers. So we have a chart that you can see up here where I explain you how the aperture works. We usually go from a lower number, which can be 1.2, 1.4, 1.8 to 2.8, like this lens, up to usually 32 or even 40-ish. It depends of the camera, but overall it depends of the lens. Now, smaller number, 2.8, bigger hole. Higher number, 20, 25, 32, smaller hole. What does it mean? It means that bigger hole, more light it's coming through. Smaller hole, less light it's coming through. So this is how it's a little bit confusing because technically smaller number, bigger hole, smaller hole, bigger number. But just to give you a different point of view, when I try to avoid light because it's too bright, I can work in different ways. I can low the ISO, see the specific video in my channel. You can high the shutter speed, see another video, specific video about that. Or you can shrink your hole and avoid the light, allowing less light in. So when do I need more light? Usually I need more light when I don't have light. Can be in a when I have some shadows, can be in a darker area, or can be during the evening. During the evening I have less sunlight, daylight, and the only way to see a little bit brighter in my picture, it's to allow more light. So 2.8, which is a lens that you see here, it's more useful during the night than during the day. During the day we have sunlight. When we have the light, everything is easier. Everything is way more funnier. Now, when I don't have light, I need help. So the bigger hole is, the more light I can allow, the more the brighter I can see my picture. Now, let me give you another explanation. As you can see, this lens, which is a 24-70, it looks big. Why? Because I have in this in this lens, I have a lot of glasses inside that allowed from when the light is coming in to where the light is going to, the same amount of light, which is the maximum 2.8. So even if I zoom closer to my subject from 24 to 70, because I have a lot of glasses in there, the light that is coming in, the amount of light 2.8, it's the same that it's going out, that it's going into the camera. A lot of time overall, and we spoke about that in another video named The Photographer's Equipment, When you purchase a first camera or a camera, usually in the kit, in the box, you have a 1855. 1855 is the classic lens for beginners. It's a 3.5 slash 5.6 aperture lens. What does it mean? Well, first of all, you can read it here how your aperture is. It means that when you zoom from 18 to 55, your hole shrinks a little bit. It means that you won't have the same light when you are wider, 18, to when you are a little bit closer to your subject, 55. So the bigger lens you see, the more glasses you have in there. The more glasses you have, the heavier the lens is, but overall the more expensive it is, but usually the brighter it is. So this one, compared to the 1855 that you found on your kit when you purchased the camera, it's pretty much the same, while, because this is 24 compared to 15 that is yours, goes to 70 compared to 55. So it's pretty similar wide angle wise, but my lens, it's way brighter because this is a 2.8 compared to 3.5 up to 5.6 that is yours. What does it mean? It means that if it's 7 p.m. and it's a little bit darker, I can allow more light into my hole in the lens, because this one is 2.8, than what you can allow in yours, which is or 3.5 up to 5.6, depending what kind of zoom you're using, from 18 to 55. Another aspect that we have to pay attention when we talk about the aperture, it's the depth of field. Usually, the depth of field works very connected to the shutter speed. If I allowed more light in using f2.8, so lower numbers, bigger hole, it means that I'm allowing more light in. At that point, it means that I don't need that amount of light from the shutter speed. So if I enlarge my hole and I allow more light, my shutter speed will be faster. Being faster, my camera has less time to think. What that means? That what you see on focus, it's usually a third part of the picture that is in front, and then anything that is on the back, it's gonna be blurry. It's the depth of field. The smaller hole that I have, aperture higher number, automatically, technically, you will have to lower your shutter speed. Lowering your shutter speed, your mirror will work a little bit slower. It means that more information getting through. Information means light. At that point, the camera has more time to think about it and gives you more things on focus. So, very important, the depth of field works also not only with the zoom, see the specific video about the depth of field, but it also works with the aperture. So lower aperture, bigger hole, only whatever is in front is on focus, and everything that is on back, it's gonna be blurry. Bigger number, which means smaller hole, less light is coming through, everything will be on focus. So the higher aperture that I will use, the more on focus will be. This is the depth of field, but is 100% connected with the aperture. So, recap of the day. What is the aperture? The aperture is the quantity of light, the amount of light that the hole in your lens allows to get in. When you purchase a lens, you know what do you need the lens for? You know that if you see the same exactly lens with two different apertures, it means that the lower aperture that you can buy, the higher amount of money you will spend, the heavier the lens will be, because more glasses are in there. When you have lower apertures, you are allowed to get more light in your hole, which means brighter pictures overall when you don't have light enough. So during the evening, a 2.8 will be way better than 5.6. I think that this is for today. Thank you so much for following. We spoke about the aperture. I hope that I gave you a large view of how the aperture works and what the aperture is. Please follow my further videos. Thank you so much for being part of it. I'll see you real soon.